Hello, Scorpio. I hope everybody's doing great today. Lots of messages to come through, so I'm starting a couple minutes early. Apollo has been hiding the past few days, so I thought I'd bring him out to say hello and give us a little bit of love here at the beginning. I hope everybody is doing well today. And just a reminder, we'll be reading here for the sign of Scorpio. This is for July 2020. As always with the live readings, this is going to also include a little bit of messages for those of you that will be watching live with me, especially as we look at the past and deep past. I'd like to take a moment just to introduce myself before I get started and welcome everybody, because I see that, again, there was a lot of action in the chat room, so I thought I would get started early here. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and every month I'm showing up to help you guys navigate the opportunities. I'm a big fan of free will, and I think that a lot of what we're doing here is to show what's possible, the paths of least and most sort of resistance, so that you can choose wisely for, everything that's in front of you in the month ahead. Everything that I do on my channel can be used for the sun, rising, and moon sign. If you know that in your chart. If you don't, you can stick with your birth sign. If you happen to know a lot, you can also use this for other aspects of your chart, like Venus. You can also watch on behalf of other people in your life that you love. And with that being said, let me talk a little bit about format before we get started. There's 4 major parts to this. I like to begin with the channeled message. And for me, I receive messages both in meditation right before, and that happens when I select the deck of cards that I'll be using. I also receive it the night before because I open myself up for messages. And one of the ways that I'm really clairvoyant is through dreams. So usually the night before my readings, I'll tune into messages for the signs, and I'll be sharing that with you. Then we go into a more traditional reading where we use the cards here to look at a Celtic Cross. I also expand the forecast to look at areas including health, wealth, love, and destiny. And the second part of this, what's really part 4, but as we get into the final part, it's the soul path that we'll be looking at. And in the soul path, it's going to be things that will affect you not just this month, but also for the year ahead. And I've been focusing on finding peace with things or trying to find healing this month, and also any sort of special messages coming through, especially for your sign. So with that being said, I think we're ready to get started. A quick thank you in advance to both of my moderators. Ryan and Maria are great about holding space, answering questions while I'm doing my thing here. And I want to also talk a little bit about how Super Chat works. If you'd like to support me, there's this cool little icon here by the emojis that allows you to send a sticker or some words of support. I don't do pick a card or Q&A because I need to stay focused, and there's a lot of information that will actually come through in this general, so I think it'll be more than enough. But I just wanted to let you know that that's mostly a way for you to support and allow me to buy new supplies. I'm using a new deck today. It's called The Spirit Within, and it's on my deck page on my website. So if you like it, you can check it out there. All right, let's get started and talk about everything that I was picking up on just intuitively. The first thing that came to me had to do with the sort of visibility you and others have into your own financial situation. So for some of you, this could just be about digging a little bit deeper and figuring out, like, how much do I have saved up? What's my emergency fund look like? Am I okay? Can I afford to take this risk or this opportunity? And so I think for many of you, this is a chance just to get some clarity and do your homework, basically. Now, the way that it was showing up in the meditation, or actually this came through in a dream, was I saw like financial information out on a table and someone else walking by. So I think it's also important for you to secure your finances and to make sure that the people with whom you do business or invest or trust your financial information with, they actually are trustworthy, that you know that they are on the same page as you. So I said, secure your finances. And I also think just get transparency and a feeling of security with your finances. So a lot of times, if you're in a place where you're trying to pay off bills or it feels like it's all overwhelming, sometimes there's a temptation to just think, I don't want to open that. I don't want to see it today. The message here is the sooner you get a handle on that, the better you're going to feel. And actually, the sooner you're going to open up other opportunities, because when you feel like you're in control of things, and actually you are, then people around you start to see you as a leader, they trust you, and more abundance comes your way. So get a handle on that, and that's going to be a good thing for you. The second was really interesting. I don't actually think I've had this particular thing come through before, but I was paying close attention to what my guides actually whispered to me was like food magic. And then I was looking at the preparation process. And so I think that one thing that you want to think about is rather that the type of food that you eat actually it's magical. We're just even, still discovering things that are hopefully we're going to keep them around, but stuff from the rainforest that has magical healing properties. Certain foods can fight cancer, can help with mental acuity, can help us just live a healthy, long life. So I want you to kind of, when you're shopping for your food at the grocery store, or if you're ordering it or wherever you're getting it, just make sure that you're trying to put some variety in there, that it feels like this is, magical fuel that you're putting into your person. The other thing is, who is preparing your food? Do you trust them? And how do they feel? Because part of the preparation process is a little bit of an imprint of their energy. So, if it's kind of like your mom and she's doing a home cooked meal and she's putting a lot of love in it, it's not only that the food tastes good to you, it's also that it feels good because love went into the preparation process. We're all busy, but many of us are working from home or teleworking now. So one of the rituals you could do this month is to take a little bit of time with at least one of your meals and enjoy the process and feel good as you're cooking it. When you consume it, you're going to also consume that gratitude, that love, and that joy. So there's something magical in the way that you're going to select the food this month, and also who prepares it for you. Make sure that you trust them, that they love you, that there's this positive sort of exchange of energy. And you are what you eat, basically, is what the guides are showing you. So prepare your food with love, make smart choices with that, and know that there could, for many of you, be a chance to positively affect maybe something going on in your general health and well-being just by changing up your diet. The next message for me, this came through a dream early this morning before I walked Apollo, and I saw it's like two parts to this for you. So the first thing is that I saw your name being kind of singled out or circled on a list, and you were being called to talk about that. I don't see it as a bad thing. To me, what this means is that your endorsement, your involvement, your support in any sort of fashion this month makes a difference. You're being noticed. So that's the first message. The second one is that you should be ready to step into the spotlight. You may be called to give some assistance. So if you're, in a traditional job, this would be your boss calling you up and saying, I want you to talk on the conference call this morning about this, this, or this. If you've been throwing out, resumes, or you've been trying to get something, published or whatever, there may be a call back saying, we want to talk to you. We have some questions about it. I got that there was a little bit of scrutiny, but I also saw that it was something very positive. And I think that this could be exciting for you this month. So pick and choose wisely what you decide to associate yourself with, because if there's something that you're doing and you're not excited about it, or you're not proud, or you just don't want to be part of that, I see a connection happening here. So this is a time to cut unnecessary sort of activities in your life and really understand that you are going to be held accountable, or you might have an opportunity to speak up. Now, I forgot to write this one down. I'm going to scribble it now so that I don't forget, and we can talk about it a little bit. The very last thing that came through would be like the energy of the Eight of Pentacles, which would be sort of like education. And the thing with this card is education isn't always about going to school. This can be training. This can be knowledge expansion. The one thing that I'll also write it here is to not sort of delay this. I know that we're in a period of time where many of us can't kind of go back. Like if you're a student, dorms may not happen this fall, depending on where you live. What I saw was that you want to keep the momentum of your education going. So this might mean that you decide to take classes at a community college and transfer them, or that you might teleschool, whatever that's being called, and basically just get some of those essential classes, the prerequisites. You want to start to make sure that you're not losing momentum. And don't give up just because you're thinking like, I'm going to miss out on that freshman dorm experience or whatever. You can still experience living in the dorms or going to school or whatever the following year, but you want to get the foundational stuff now. And it'll be easier, and you're going to feel like you're already part of the process. It's easier than doing catch up. So I'm just going to basically say education, and then I'm writing here start now. So this was channeled live, and I forgot to write it earlier. So whatever that means for you, it can be training, it can be something else, but I just feel like the momentum of the moment is important. And if you wait too long, you could look back in time and think, oh, I just wish that I had done something, okay? So the other thing with that is it's not going to necessarily be the way you thought it would be. So again, if you were hoping for a certain experience, I think all that's important is the process of knowledge expansion, moving yourself forward. For those of you that are either retired or working in a job and you're long past your school days, what this can also mean is that there's a chance you want to push yourself this month. Are you feeling challenged? Is there still something going? Is there still something going on where you feel like it's worth doing? I need to take a drink, obviously. And if that's the case, that's good. We always need to move and push ourselves. So it doesn't matter where you're at in your career or where you're at in your life plan. This is the time to make sure that that's happening. Thank you. I had a frog in my throat. All right, let's go ahead now and move along to the Celtic Cross. Again, special thanks for all of you that have either been supporting me on Patreon or are a channel member or have done super chats. I've been upgrading supplies and equipment, and this is one of the new decks that I purchased. I have another couple that I'm waiting to receive. So I'm always refreshing things, and you guys made it possible. All right, I'm going to remain quiet at this point as I take a look at everything, but afterwards we will we'll talk about what it means for the month ahead. The deck that I'm using today is kind of cool because we're going to be in a retrograde cycle, for those of you that didn't know, from June 18th to July 12th. So I'm using cards that show silhouettes, and so we'll kind of be playing with the shadow before and the shadow afterwards. First time reading with this deck. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being patient as I got everything assembled here. And what a powerful card to come right at the center. Well, it's not the center, but this is your catalyst card, which for me is a way to connect to the opportunities of the month, to stay in the highest frequency. And it's a very active card. And that last piece of information that I had a hard time getting out of my mouth for a second is really about this. Like, don't miss this opportunity to sort of like strike while you feel that energy coming through you. And so I feel like this is really about you standing up for yourself, you being strong, you understanding what you need to do, and that this is still the time, even amidst all the changes that are going on in the world right now, you have some things that you need to take care of. The Cobra is coming through, showing you have the strength, you have the power, and also you shouldn't feel intimidated or afraid. This is a brave card to me. So the only other thing is, if there's anyone in your midst that is trying to provoke or kind of get under your skin, provoke you or get under your skin, you want to be very careful. We all have those moments, and this is Scorpio, and I'm on the cusp, and I understand. Sometimes you just, it all comes out, right? Like someone pushes your button and you think, I can't hold this back anymore. So what I want you to try to do over the course of July, and for those of you that are watching live even at the end of June, is to find ways to kind of get that pressure cooker, like a relief valve, so that some of that energy comes out, because you don't want, this crazy strike to happen and then to kind of regret what you've said. I think sometimes it's important to show that you can, kind of like you care enough and that you're a force to be reckoned with. But it's the restraint that is going to show your maturity, your power, and also is going to encourage people to want to work with you, because it's not about fear. It is important to hold your space, though, and hold court. And so I think part of it this month is to not be afraid to, stand up tall, to stand up for what you believe in. And it's sometimes stronger to restrain than to just let it all come out. Okay, so you'll be walking that edge, but people will still know that you have the power to do something. Choosing not to shows your maturity and could win you an opportunity, okay? Let's look at the center card here. This is one of perseverance. The card is reversed, but I want to pull it up right. We have the 9 of Wands, and a lot of times if you could see the face on this one, there's usually a bandage on the person because they've gone through the fight, they're not giving up, and what this is saying is hold your ground, stand your ground, and also take a moment to look back and see all of the progress you've made thus far. With the card in reverse, some of you might be feeling the sense of, oh gosh, I'm just so tired of not getting to this final outcome. It feels like I've been going and going and going. Maybe I should just, turn right, turn left, try something else. With this, I think one message that I'd like to relay is that you've worked so hard to get to this point. Why not at least give it a little bit more of a chance and really make sure that you've given every possible opportunity a chance to reveal itself before stepping back. This is never a card of giving up. Now, if there's someone in your life that's trying to push you, you don't have to put up with that. That's the other thing that we were talking about. So whether it's verbal or physically or some other way, you're just going to kind of keep your space, keep your privacy. And at this point, I don't think you need to engage with that energy. I mention that because on top of it, we have the Devil card. And this could also be, I kind of get the word frenemy in my head. Some of you might have someone that looks like they're someone that might have your back, but you find out that they're not really happy for the success that you might be able to accomplish this month, because I do think that that's possible. And I think that there could be someone that's kind of trying to hold you back with the reins that we normally see with the 2 lover type figures on the Devil. And what I like about this particular Devil is we have the innocence versus the not so innocent in the background. So there could be someone that's kind of showing a false face. And it's up to you to sort of see through that and understand what's going on. The Devil's also a revelation card. It comes through to reveal the things that we're afraid of. And so for some of you, it could just be a lack of success or completion. We're one step away from having things finished right here. So understand that you don't want to give up. That for some of you, that's the Devil. It's just like, I'm tired of it. And the Devil can be complacency or laziness. But the other piece of it can be holding back and restraining, because you don't want to go into this pattern, because this can be a pushy card. And it can be sometimes fighting too much. So knowing when to fight and when not to fight is going to be a key message for you, because people know you're strong. You don't always have to show it. When you think of really powerful, whether it's like a world leader or a celebrity or just someone in your life that there's certain people that walk into the room and all eyes go to them because something's about to kind of take place, or that person calls all the eyes to them because they just have this magnetic energy. Just imagine that you can do that. You have the power to, part the sea, but you don't always have to do that. All right. I think that for those of you that watch this live with me today, as we look at the deep past, we have the 8 of Swords. The 8 of Swords is, and it's reversed, but I'm going to pull it up right. A lot of times this is a feeling like, I don't know how to get out of this. I'm trapped. This doesn't feel like I can breathe anymore. It's this sort of this place where you've done as much as you can. Sometimes you've painted yourself into a corner, to use a metaphor. It's like, how do I get out? I don't want to mess anything up, but I've also kind of had enough of this. So the way through the 8 of Swords is transparency, because usually you can kind of see it here, but the person has a blindfold, and the blindfold is showing that lack of clarity. I mentioned earlier about the finances, just getting to understand things. I think, yes, it could have to do with work and finances. It could also be any aspect of your life where you feel like, I just need to know a little bit more. I need to understand a little bit more, and I'm not getting the information that I need. So some of you might need to leapfrog to a different person if the one in front of you is the block, ostensibly this Devil card here that we see. And they may even be condescending you, because I get a little sense of condescension with this, because there's this overarching figure and they're treating you like a kid. So if somebody won't give you the information you need, find a way to get to that information, because information is empowerment. And once you have that power, you're like, no, I know what I need to do. You're not going to scare me. Not today, not ever. And you notice it's countering that energy too. It's the same color. And this is really those first couple of chakras, the colors that we see here, specifically like chakra 1. So many of you need to just feel secure, safe, and you understand what you're going through. That information will alleviate the fear or the uncertainty, and then you're going to be able to make a clear decision. Your cognitive process will open up. Looking now at recent past, and this is going to be something that will carry over into the next month. So again, it will be relevant now in the live. It might even be taking place at the end of June, but especially for July, this is something to be mindful of. We have the King of Cups. I love when, of all the sort of cups cards, this is a really great one because it shows that you're in control of your emotions, which is what we've been talking about. So I actually feel like you're going to be able to put that anchor down in your life and figure out what really matters to you. And that's what's going to help you be the compass to go to the next step. So feel good about yourself, feel good about what you're doing, get the information that you need. Don't let anybody stand in your way if there's something that you're very passionate about doing. And then it's up to you to continue to honor what you've created. So for some of you, this is saying like, don't sit still. I get a message of this because with King and Queen cards, sometimes you expect things to come to you. And I think that there's an active energy that's coming through pretty strong this month. And I think that for you, it's going to be important to stay kind of in the field working on things with everybody else and make sure that you're showing how much you care. As I mentioned, your support matters. Your name may be called. You may be pulled to the forefront. And so being ready to step in the spotlight is important. And you want to make sure that the people around you are kind of like applauding you and are on the same page. So if you're working hand in hand with all of them, that's going to help. If you're looking for love, that portends good things because it shows me that your heart space is open. It could be another, like a water sign coming into your life. It could just be your energy of saying like, yeah, I know who I am. I'm ready. I'm open and ready to receive love. So I feel good about that being in the recent past, especially since it's in the upright position. I'm happy to see both the 9 and the 8 of Swords reversed. We have the 9 of Swords in the crowning position. So focusing on your stress release, and also like how you're sleeping is important. Notice how we can really see where the 9 of Swords is with this particular illustration. It's usually in the head. And the thing with the 9 of Swords is sometimes we make things out to be bigger than they are. And that aggregate weight just starts to kind of like suffocate us. We can't breathe, we can't see what's possible, and you start to just sort of think yourself into a rabbit hole. So I've been talking to a lot of signs over the past few months about turning things inside out. So when you have a fear, one thing you can do is just do the research to figure out, like, is it a valid fear? So sometimes ignorance feeds into the fear. So just figure out, like, should I be worried about this, or am I just being irrational? The other thing is to make fears possibilities. So, sometimes if I have a client, I'm trying to coach them or help them see what possibilities are, I would say, like, imagine this. If this was your last day on the planet, what would your regrets be? And if they have something they haven't done, I would say now turn the regret into a goal and start working on it so that you feel, already this is something you wouldn't want to leave the planet not doing. So essentially, this is something that really matters to your soul. So make it, instead of something you're afraid that you're not going to do, make it a goal. I'm going to do this by the next 3 years or something like that. For you, if you're afraid that something might happen, what if the opposite happens? And entertain that possibility, because then you're feeding out to the universe, I'm ready for the inverse of this, which is, positive. So if you want to ask someone out, what if they say yes? That's a good thing. If you're going to go for a job, what if you get it? If you're going to create a business, what if it's a wild success? Yes, you should prepare for things not working, but also prepare for them working and get ready for that spotlight moment. Because I saw, if you put your hat in the ring enough and in enough different arenas, one of those is going to work for you. And that's the key to success, is perseverance. And that was your center card. So like, literally, don't give up and don't be down on yourself. The devil doesn't want us to get ahead and doesn't want us to succeed. So prove the devil wrong. And that's really what the 2 center cards are saying. Because guess what? As we look into the future here, near future, we have the Three of Wands, which is success, and it's upright. So there's not a lot of delays with this success. It can sometimes indicate like a quarter of the year, 3 to 4 months. So you may not see it right now. It may not happen in July, but it might happen in August, September, October. So keep working on it. There's some good stuff ahead for you. Also, the power of manifestation. I've been saying this as well, but it kind of bears repetition here. You have to dream it, believe it, taste it almost, and then you start to bring it into fruition in your life. So I think that this is a really important month to stay clear and stay connected to that vision, okay? I like that it's in the near future. It feels to me like the latter part of the month is going to be pretty productive. And again, I've written down the date so that I remember it. On July 12th, that's when retrograde stops. We'll be in the post shadow after that, but or just the shadow. But it won't. By the very end of the month, you should be in a good place. And I think that a lot of things will be resolved by the end of the month. All right, focusing now on your ego, which is affecting everything around you. This is either your magnetic or maybe magnetic opportunity or what's pushing things away. We have Ace of Cups. The card is reversed, however. And so what I think you want to do this month is see, like if you want to turn it upright, it's really a sort of question that you're going to pose when you're looking at people, places, and opportunities in your life. Does this make me happy? Does this make me look forward to the engagement, to getting up in the morning? Am I feeling like my battery is being depleted or being filled up? Use this as a deciding factor to turn the card upright, to get inspired, to open yourself to love, because you already have the energy here, but you have to be happy internally as well. And this is something that maybe differentiates me from some of the other readers. I'm not always looking at your person or if he or she is coming in. I'm looking at you because how you feel, operate, and kind of work in your life is the ultimate attraction for the people in your life. So I still kind of am helping you find your path, your people, but it really matters about you. And this month, I feel like you know what you want to do, you know who you are. Just make sure that you're honoring that. Because otherwise, just like I like that you can actually see, it's kind of like pushing down or pushing away the people, the opportunities, the love that wants to come into your life. Are you afraid of love? Are you feeling overwhelmed by love? Do you need more in return for the love that you're giving? Something's out of balance with respect to relationships and also yourself. What's missing? Because relationships are not a substitute for that sense of personal fulfillment. They are brought in because you are feeling fulfilled. So anyway, there's something going on where you have to just think, am I truly happy? And that happiness then spills over, typically in the Ace of Cups, to everything that you touch. You can't seek fulfillment from other people. It's not going to work that way completely. You're going to seek out a lesson then, or you're going to learn something about yourself or them. All right. The environment is very positive. We have the King of Pentacles. We've got two kings, really evenly matched energy. Doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. I don't necessarily read gender in cards. I think that's old-fashioned. So for me, this is showing two very mature people and evenly matched. So we could have a nice earth sign, nice water sign here, kind of connecting sensitivity, practicality. I like what I'm seeing. The only thing that I see with this particular King of Pentacles, and it's not unusual, even though this is upright, notice how there's a little sense of, I've got this. It's almost a little cocky energy here that's coming through. So if it's you, if we're looking at like how you could be invoking the King of Pentacles energy this month, I think confidence is good. You don't want to kind of work with people that lack confidence, especially as I was saying, like if it's your banking, I want to talk to someone that feels really good about their ability to deal with money. But if it's other aspects of your life and you come across as too confident, then it can be off-putting. Then it can be sort of, like too bold, too sort of cocky. That's the best word I can use. So what I want you to do this month is to stay open and be generous with, if you are in a good place, try to help people. If there's someone in your life and they're lacking the motivation, use your passion, use your energy in the heart space to get them excited again about working together. So I feel like one person, if you are in a partnership, this is for people that are already dating or have just met someone, it feels to me like one person's kind of doing more of the work, the other person's sitting back and waiting. There needs to be reciprocity, and that's ostensibly why this card was reversed. So has to be two people working at the same level. Otherwise, you can wait a little bit and let this person come forward and show if they're interested. As far as financial things, this shows growth. It's good. It's really good to have in your environment. So if you're looking to find work after a period of unemployment, that's good. But again, you have to, the opportunity is there, but don't sit and wait. So we have 3 of Wands, which shows anything that you put energy into, you'll see a return. But if you sit and wait, it's going to take longer than you expect. It's going to go more towards the 3 to 4 months instead of like 3 to 4 weeks, which is what you want. So important to stay active, important to not get complacent. And if people in your life are sort of lazy or complacent or not feeling motivated, that's going to help you understand I don't need to engage with that person as much because they're expecting me to pick up too much of the slack. Okay. I like that we see a 9 of Pentacles card right above that. This is in hopes, fears, and opportunity. Now, the card is reversed. Normally, this is a card of independence, like I've got this. And reaping the benefits, like it's a harvesting card. You'll normally see a woman, and there's all these beautiful sort of bushes, and she's pulling the fruits of her labor off of that. It's basically showing, I've got this. I can take care of myself. I don't need anyone in my life. In fact, I'm so well off that I have this bird on my shoulder, and I'm just relaxing. It's opulent, actually. Now, the reverse of this card is saying that you never want to get too, I do think that there's a little bit of a note here to not get overzealous, overconfident, and independence is good, but I do feel like you're going to be better off this month by having partnership. And if you need to motivate a partner, that's going to be key as well. We'll be looking more at love in a second. And when we go into that, I'll talk about people that are single or retired or widowed, etc. But mostly here, when I look at the partnership opportunity, it's just making sure that you maximize things. 9 of Pentacles is good, but it can mean that somebody doesn't feel like they need to do as much because they don't understand the struggle that you're going through, the opportunity, or that there could be even more growth. 9 of Pentacles is not the end. 10 of Pentacles is more exciting. It shows a connection between family and society and obviously a lot more abundance. So I feel like you're at the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more that you can do with your career, with your opportunities. And so the question is, do you want to? If you don't, that's okay. If you do, then keep pushing. There's some exciting things ahead for you, okay? So as we look now at your outcome here, we have the Empress card in reverse. And I do feel like some of you are trying to figure out, like, should I do my own thing? Can I get along with my boss? How am I feeling? There's a lot of sort of relationship tug of war where one person's stronger than the other or one person's working harder than the other. The Empress card, the 9 of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, these are very self-sustaining, very independent energies. You can do anything you put your mind to this month. But because I'm seeing so many kings and also an Empress, a queen, what I'm noticing here again is, on the bright side, if you expect things to happen in a positive way, they will. You have that. You have the power of a king or a queen this month. But if you also just kind of get, like I said, like not working hard enough or just not kind of going out there and connecting with people enough, then it also makes you harder to connect with. So open your heart space, be approachable, be humble, be generous. All of these things are going to really help open up and continue the flow of abundance. The Empress card in reverse also comes through as a warning. Focus on your life, your finances, your personal health this month, as we've been talking about. Wait for other people to come to you. And also, don't feel like you need to check in every 5 minutes with somebody. There might be someone in your family or friend circle, or maybe even that you're working with, where you could have sort of set up that codependent cycle where it feels like you have to, and now they expect you to. So this month, give them a push and let them maybe stumble a little bit and then come there to help them afterwards and inform them. But say, this is the new way. I trust you. You can do this. If you have children especially, this is going to be key because it gives them a chance to learn the lessons of life, which is accountability, independence. They have that energy. And I think that you're going to help someone see that, or maybe you're going to see it yourself. If someone in your life, a boss, a mother, a mentor, always stepped in and made you second guess yourself, I'm here to tell you, you've got this. You've got some great energy this month. So whatever side of the equation you are, just kind of own your power. And I think that's going to be key. Let me take a quick drink here, and then we're going to expand the forecast, looking at these cards through some new lenses, including health, wealth, love, and destiny. All right. As we take a look at the health card, this is multifaceted. This is going to be your mind, body, and spirit. And so I'll take a look at this card, and then I'll also look at the other cards and see if there's some additional insights with that. So we have shifting here. And for many of you, like I read for Libra the other day, and the Tower energy, I think it came also in this space as well. This isn't too different from that, but it's a little bit more gentle, I would say. So with this shifting, some of it can happen through your own thought process, through your own dreams. And I feel like change is necessary this month for your happiness, for your health, because it is in health. So if you've been stuck in something, make a choice this month to sort of fix that and think, I owe it to myself and to the people around me to really be happy and to be ready for that. So that's what we've got here with the shifting energy. And if there's been something that you failed at before, or just didn't have success, I don't like the word failed, this is a chance to reset that. Because, you know, to me, when I look at a retrograde cycle, it's kind of like the Eight of Cups. You get to return and try it again. It's kind of like you're taking the ride one more time to see if you've got it right. So I feel like you can get it right this time, whatever you want to do, whether it's love, work, health, happiness, whatever. You've got a second chance and it looks pretty good. So believe in yourself. I also feel like you've integrated most of the lessons because your center card was the Nine of Wands. So, so really focus on that, and I think that's going to help you. Looking at health cards in particular, the main thing that I'm seeing here with the Nine of Swords and the Nine of Wands, this can just be pushing yourself to mental and physical exhaustion. So if you're working a lot of like 10 or 15-hour days, or you're working consistently 7 days a week, or trying to hold down 2 jobs, there's a breaking point that could happen. You don't want to take the 9 to the 10 of Swords or the 9 of Wands to the 10 of Wands, because that can show sort of like issues with the back. It can also be just, you know, getting sick, and we're not completely out of this pandemic. So your physical health and your mental acuity are going to help you fight off and stay healthy and strong. So don't burn the candle at both ends is the main piece of advice. Focus on getting at least a few hours of sleep. You've got to get enough for your body to feel good. So figure out what that means for you. Emotional happiness is also the main thing that I see here, because it feels like that's the one thing that I see like a temper flare up this month if you're not careful. So the Nine of Wands, Nine of Swords, and the Ace of Cups in reverse can lead to that sort of striking moment where you say more or do more than you need to. And then it's hard to back off, you know, from that. And kind of always, it's like it leaves a little bit of a scar once you've done that. So you don't want to do that. That's the main thing that I'm seeing with respect to your health. And just move around. All the King cards and all the Queen cards are just showing a lot of sort of sitting still, and the energy of the Nine of Swords can be cleared out by a good walk, a swim, just getting outside. If you're in a place right now where it's not being locked down, everything. Okay, let's move along to wealth. We have Cosmic Butterfly. I love this card. The card's reversed, but it doesn't matter. If you take a look at it, you can see this beautiful butterfly, and it looks like the sun is behind it, or this beautiful, brilliant energy. So the card's reversed, but to me, it doesn't matter. This is kind of like an ink blot painting. It's more important about what we're seeing. But we have two transformative energies here. So we have the shifting card, and then we have a butterfly in reverse. So you could kind of abstract this to be really that for some of you, you're in that process of like a chrysalis or a cocoon. It's a developmental stage for your career right now. This is why I was tuning into that final piece that I wrote live, which was to challenge yourself, to educate yourself, to move the needle forward, and know that it's important to start now, so that when everything is done, when the world kind of returns to some semblance of normalcy, you can spread those wings and you can take flight. When I was doing some of my studies in college and graduate school, I just missed a wave, an opportunity, because when I got out, there was the whole .com bubble burst thing that happened around 2000, and then 9/11 happened. So I was just like 2 or 3 years too late to be on that successful wave. And so what I see for you is a chance to kind of like get in the window, so that when things open up, you can capitalize on that, and you're not still training or catching up or you'll get ahead of the curve. That's why you want to do the work now. It won't be this way forever, and you want to be able to hit the ground, in this case, flying, never mind, just like I was going to say running, but fly. So spread your wings, try something new. It's a change card. So if you're doing something you don't want to do, figure out how to do what you really desire and make that happen. Start to put those seeds into your future so that you can see development there. The other thing is we see growth here. To me, a butterfly is also transformation and growth. And all of your cards this month are actually positive when I'm looking at resources. King of Pentacles in the environment, Nine of Pentacles here in the opportunity space. And when I look at both of these, even if there was any sort of a reduction, it's a small one, it's a manageable one. I feel like you're going to be able to handle whatever comes your way. You might decide to reinvest in yourself or in your business, and you might find another job that is very close to what you were doing before. It feels like there's some good movement with respect to career. Let's look now at love and relationships. It's not just romantic, not the way that I read. It's going to be all relationships. And I'm not surprised to see this. This is something that's been a common thread here. So we have a grief card here, and the card was reversed. So it's just about letting go. But we can see it's not always about losing a parent. It can be losing a child. It can be losing a pet. It can also be just grieving over, I was talking about for those of you that were thinking of maybe going to school in the fall, the traditional experience is going to be radically different. Whether you're in primary school or if you're in college or if you were thinking of starting something new, the experience has changed and you can grieve the loss. It's actually important to do that. Now, the relationship loss can show me that for some of you, there's a breakup. The devil in the center, by the way, can show that there was, a revelation of something that happened. A lot of times, this is something that one of the partners tried to sweep under the rug. It can also be a third party that's coming in and kind of driving a wedge between the two of you. Not always an affair. It can just be, we've got an Empress card here. It could be a mom. Maybe you're not getting approval for a marriage because there's a traditional family, or maybe it's just this controlling energy that's not allowing you to be happy. So if you love someone, you're going to have to stand up to that sort of traditional energy. This is the one time I would say, go ahead and speak your mind. Just try to stay clear and coherent. It's not about hurting, it's about informing, and it's about sort of standing up for yourself. If somebody has done something wrong, it's also about making sure that comes to light. The revelation is necessary. You have to sort of bring it to the light so that it can be healed. So the devil's here to help you by showing you something that you need to deal with, basically. But as a sort of net result of that, for some of you, this is going to be a period where you grieve something that you thought existed and didn't, something that did exist and you lost, or something that you were hoping to do, but now it has shifted, because that's 2020, my friends. It's basically one big tidal wave that's changing everything around us, and we have to move with the energy. So hopefully that helps. And again, we talked a little bit about the King of Cups, King of Pentacles energy, sense of entitlement or waiting on one side of the fence, and you want to make sure that is not necessarily happening all the time. All right, let's look at your Destiny card. And with respect to the way that this is set up, this is going to be something that you have the capacity to change around if you'd like to. So it says exchange energy to create abundance, and we have a trader card here. I'm going to pull this in the upright position so you can see it. So for some of you, you may be thinking about starting your own business. You may also decide, what do I have to offer to the world? Like going beyond the 20th century version of a job, which was just to get you money so you could pay for things and that you would be set up for retirement. As we are now entering into the 21st century, it's more about a spiritual third eye awakening, understanding that, no, I've done this a lot. I want to try to do it right so that I can keep moving along that path of ascension. And that means that I have to give something back to the world, and I have to also receive some sense of growth or understanding or fulfillment. So higher path with respect to your work. That's one thing that I'm seeing some of you feeling challenged or inspired to do. Okay, let's go ahead and review what we just talked about, and then we'll move along to the next portion where we focus on past, present, and future opportunities to make peace, to release, to work with some of the shifting energy that definitely is intrinsic to the retrograde cycle, which we're all now in. So let's try to make the most of it, okay? I'm gonna pull the camera down, and let's look at channeled messages first. So let me just get all these cards back in a place where we can read them. Okay, so the first thing was, actually this came here. So I want you to focus on understanding what's going on with your finances. When I say securing the finances, some of that can be literal. It's just making sure that everything is, taken care of, that you've paid your taxes, that you trust who you're working with. It can also just be a matter of making sure that you are secure in where you stand. So basically asking the questions that you need to ask and understanding what's going on with that. Then I also talked about the importance of preparing food with love. So whoever is making your food, make sure that you trust them, but also that there's a sort of alchemic or magical property with food. Your choices, your preparation, it can actually heal and bolster your immunity, something that's super important right now. Also just makes you feel better. You literally are what you eat. So pay some attention or mind to that this month. Your support or endorsement really does make a difference now. So this can be as literal as voting or getting involved in some sort of community or political or social change that you want. But it also is saying that you're having a chance this month to be put in the spotlight. And people are going to ask you where you stand, and they literally care about your connection to that. So figure out, some of you are at a point now where you're going to have to figure out, where do I stand? You can turn that into a question, if you will. You have a moment where many of you are going to have to stand up for yourself. Make sure that there's the right balance between strength and then not overdoing it. The restraint is going to be a key component to your success this month. Don't give up. Literally, for some of you, that's the only element of the devil, is to sort of, not sort of sit and think I've done everything that I need to do. There's still growth that can happen, and we see that here when we look at the environment and opportunities. Information, transparency, and unshackling yourself, like freeing yourself from the path that you're on. The Eight of Swords is often an imagined sort of prison that you've built for yourself, and we see the prison of the mind coming through in that crowning card. So I think for some of you, to imagine something different is going to be really key. Your heart is open, at least it was over the past month, and I want you to continue that energy of thinking like, I can do this, the King of Cups here. When you are engaged with your sort of passionate side, you're at your strongest. That's really you personified, Scorpio. So be strong, stand tall, and feel like I can do this. Focus on sleep quality. Also focus on positive affirmations, thinking of the possible, not just necessarily what's going to go wrong. So think of what you might be able to achieve as well. Because the fears can manifest, but so can the positives. And those dreams, those hopes, those aspirations are what feed the Three of Wands. That's the wind in the sails that you would see here. So keep pushing that positivity there. What is it in your life right now that makes you feel dissatisfied or disengaged or not inspired? This is a chance for you to remedy it. This particular retrograde cycle, which again goes from June 18th to July 12th. King of Pentacles shows me that opportunities abound and they're actually opening up for you. Stay active, stay excited, stay humble, keep working towards that. You should be fine if you do that. Nine of Pentacles reversed on top of that, kind of figuring out how much you need to do on your own, especially since we also see the Empress reversed. It's not a power trip. I actually think partnership is going to be really important. For those of you, speaking of partnerships that are in love this month, focus on making sure that you understand who you're with. There could be something that they're afraid to talk to you about. The devil needs to come to light if that's the case. This can also just be something that one or both of you need to change about your life. It doesn't have to be deep and dark. It could just be a decision to eat healthier, to give up drinking or smoking or something else. And don't give up, because we have the Nine of Wands underneath it, which can overcome the devil. Okay, with respect to your health, you can make that change that I was talking about if you want to this month. Push that energy of the devil out. Doesn't need to be there anymore. By the way, this could be Capricorn energy that's coming into your life as well, since that's a symbol of the Capricorn. Looking at wealth, cosmic butterfly, you can change however you'd like to. If you feel stuck, then this is the month to invest in yourself. Go back to school, get some training, try something new, start your own company, get the wheels in motion. Really, in a retrograde cycle, I would use it more as a planning and information sort of month. And then as you get into August, you could actually start the execution of it. For love, it's okay to grieve what was lost, what you thought you could have, what isn't, but don't sit too long in that. Look at all the beautiful energy of this. There's growth that's going to come out of this understanding of what was lost. There's also still something left. And sometimes I mention, it was a good movie. It was for kids, but if I can remember it, it's the Inside Out, was that it? Yeah, it was a Pixar movie where you got in the head of this little kid, and Sadness, I think, was the name of the character, but they were all trying to push sadness under the rug and not have her come through. But when she was able to help the child feel the full spectrum of emotions, then you get what you see here, which is it's not always about being happy all the time or sad all the time, or it's not extremes. It's basically this beautiful blending of energy. Sometimes we can laugh through our tears. Sometimes we can cry when we're happy. So it's that combination and understanding that grief is not making you weak. It's not holding you back. It could actually be part of what helps you figure out what you want. So maybe there's some happy tears for some of you this month. I hope so. And then finally, as we looked at the Destiny card, it's a decision that there has to be some sort of an exchange. The Trader card is not so much about making money. It's the energetic exchange that you're receiving for what you're kind of putting out in the universe. So are you getting a return on your spiritual investment for what you're doing for a 9-to-5 job? Do you feel like when you leave this planet, there's going to be any regrets for the amount of energy you put into some of these activities? And if so, change it up this month. That's what this retrograde is giving you a chance to do. It always does, but especially this month. So some powerful messages coming through, really mostly pretty good. I like that the devil came through at the center too, because that's giving you a chance to see it and to move through it. Better there than in the outcome, right? Because this is showing that the challenge has presented itself initially and that it shouldn't be something that you have to sort of like deal with as, some surprise at the end of the month. Let's focus now on areas where you can be healed, where you can release and make peace with things. And for some of you, as we're looking at the stress or the complacency, if any of that's coming through as well. So I'm going to give the cards a shuffle. We're going to look at past, present, and future influences with respect to that, and we'll see where it goes. Okay, I really like this Temperance card because it literally is showing the ability to tune in. This is a modern deck, and it's kind of fun to see something besides the traditional illustrations here. So we have like a DJ, and they're mixing two different inputs here. And one of the cool things that you see with a typical Temperance card is you have like 1 foot in the ground, 1 foot in the water. And it is sort of about allowing yourself to get into a new frequency. It's really actually smart that they used someone that is listening to frequencies here, a DJ, to show a different element of temperance. Some of you have been in a position where maybe you haven't made the decision. Here's the thing. What's cool about a DJ is you can mix, you can find new things, but this particular card is also saying, I feel at some point you have to make a choice. Otherwise, you're constantly on the line. You're not going to move forward if you're always having 1 foot on the land and 1 foot in the water. You have to decide which direction am I going to choose. So I feel like decision time is coming now, and you've had enough time to sample, no pun intended, but sample everything. And now it's time to make your own decision, move forward, okay? So that's basically what this is saying. Take what little time you need at the beginning of the month to sit with this a little bit longer, and then by the end of the month, you should be able to choose one direction or the other, okay? So very cool Temperance card, very cool message. And I like the idea of kind of tuning into the frequency that fits for you. And it may be a blending of the two that ultimately ends up being your own voice. You'll put your own energy into it as well. It might not be, this or this. It's something new in the center, but put your own thumbprint on it. That's the one thing that comes through. Even if a DJ remixes something, you can tell certain producers how they sound because of, they just have a certain sort of signature. So what's your signature? What are you going to do to make something special? All right. And for some of you, it's just been sitting too long on that. So temperance is fine, but there's no activity that happens with temperance. So activation, the Cobra's coming through saying, don't forget about me. It's time to move forward. Be bold. The Moon card. For many of you, there is a fear of maybe stepping on somebody's toes. This is a territorial card, right? You often see like a domesticated dog and then a wolf or some kind of combination of that. You'll see like one animal that is in the wild and one that is not. So for you this month, there's a decision of also like trusting your intuition and knowing that like our primal instincts often are very, very key to success. So if your gut tells you this is the time, this is the place, this is what I need to do, then do it. now. I can't avoid the combination of these two. There are certain cards that come through that show maybe a reluctancy or an inability to be truthful or bring things in the light. So this month, this is a softer version of the devil, depending on how you look at it. But I feel like there's something that you're still maybe afraid of doing, trying, saying, exploring, and this needs to come to light because it's kind of an echo of what was maybe something in the past. So you have a chance to heal a past wound where you maybe didn't say what you needed to, maybe you said too much, whatever. There's some healing that comes through. But the moon can be our most primal instincts. It can be a natural energy that it kind of shows us through the illusions. It can come through dreams. But the cool thing with it, for you especially, since you're so connected to this is another card that shows your personality. If you embrace the energy of the moon, great things can happen. Talking about music like we saw here, some of the best songs are like sad songs, right? Or it can be like a little touch of emotion in it that just pulls at your heartstrings. So if you can take what you're feeling and make it something better than that, that's kind of what art is. So there's a creative energy coming through this month where you could abstract your experience, you could heal through the abstraction, through the telling of the story. You can cast a character that did it right. And on some levels, energetically, you're going to integrate the messages or the lessons through that new sort of story. So there's a healing that can happen through art, through expression, and through going into that dream or that fear or that hope or that intuitive side. And that's where you can start to find peace with it. Dreams are just dreams. I know that I had a question the other day. What do I do about this? I'm constantly being chased, or people are constantly angry at me, or all of that. The dreams are coming through to help you let go of the fears. And when you're sort of feeling that stuff, like what you really want to do at some point is to be able to turn around and face the fear in the dream, not in a sort of defensive stance, but in a loving stance. So this would be sort of loving the shadow. Like one thing that you could do with that energy is just kind of pull it in and say, I love you, or you're part of me. What are you trying to show me? And a lot of times the shadow will retract because it's not ready for the love. It's not ready for the light. You can say, see my light. That's something that I've used before in the if I've had someone dark in front of me, like low frequency in my head, in my mind, in my energy, I'm like, see my light. And I've noticed palpable shifts in their energy when I do that, when I think it. And so instead of me retracting or kind of like recoiling, I'm calm. I kind of melt the energy and I'm like, here's the light. What are you trying to, what's this all about? That's why we're working with a deck that has shadows in it, because to have a shadow, you need light. So I'm pulling the light energy out of this deck because we're in a retrograde. What I like about the silhouettes is it allows us to see beyond just the face, beyond whatever the illustration is. So don't be afraid. The light in this particular card is the moon. The moon is reflective. Think back on things, understand it. You're going to get a different sort of perception of what's going on this time around. All right. I like this one a lot. All right, we have the Eight of Wands. The card was reversed, but to me, it's just a dance overall. The Eight of Wands always shows the ability for you to handle anything that comes your way. For some of you, you may feel like there's points where you're dodging bullets. There's too much going on. It's like, how do I do all of this? For others of you, you could actually really enjoy this. And to me, this looks like fine art. It's like a dancer. So if you could try to go with the flow, even if it's upside down, it could be sort of like, I'm seeing it as a cartwheel or a somersault. Whatever the energy is this month, work with it, work around it, flow. Kind of just see it as that. It's a dance that has to have different tempos. Just like a song, like, there's the bridge, there's the chorus, there's sometimes a breakdown. With music, you're not gonna, or with dance, you're not gonna do the same thing the whole time. It's boring. So in order to be productive, you're gonna change your pacing, you're gonna change your schedule. And so for you to be successful here, we're gonna pull the three together one more time. There comes a point where you have to stop waiting and start doing. And for some of you, if you can't make a decision between the two paths, choose your own and blend the two energies like a DJ would. There's something that perhaps you've been afraid of before, don't be anymore. It's coming through to give you a sort of like new insight into your own power. And there's more similarity between these two animals than there are differences. And they can possibly get along. So there's a chance for reconciliation. All of this is going to help you open up to new abundance. You got some great cards this month, Scorpio, for growth and development. King of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, Three of Wands, Eight of Wands. I feel pretty good about where you can go as long as you stay positive and you stay flexible and you move with the flow, you know? So some great, great energy overall. Let's take a look at everything in front of us here and see what we can focus on for the next portion, where we're going to do some integration and meditate a little bit. So I feel like going through the moon energy and the devil energy is going to be important so we can get to the Three of Wands and the abundance. So the fear and kind of letting go of some of the anger or the frustration. I feel like if I can help you clear it, ventilate it, or kind of like ground it, that's going to be very, very helpful. Okay, so let me get the singing bowl ready here. For those of you that are listening and waiting for this at this point, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do that. That way you'll know when I go live in the future. That's really all it does, is kind of populates your start page. So if you haven't done that already, do that. And when this is done, I know it's hard to sometimes hit the thumbs up, the like. You can do it when it's finished. Okay, so let's focus first on our body, and then we'll get into the meditation. Close your eyes, relax, and imagine yourself. I like the moon, so we're going to use twilight. So imagine yourself outside during dusk or twilight, and maybe you could see yourself in sort of like a desert location where it's cool, but what's nice about it is the sky is really clear. If you're in a city like I am, you can't always see the Milky Way. And I follow someone on Instagram, and I think they're actually like in the outbacks of Australia, but they were posting the beautiful, like you can see the Milky Way. And if you're in LA, I've not seen it for like 20 years because of the light pollution here. So imagine yourself in a sort of remote area where it's just you and the night sky above you, and you can actually see the Milky Way above you and how vast this is. You can even see Andromeda off to the side of the Milky Way too. So you realize we're in a galaxy, there's this other massive galaxy, there's these beautiful stars above me. I'm part of something much bigger than I realize. Sometimes all the little things going on in my life make me feel small, but in this moment, I feel like I am connected to something bigger, and by definition, I'm also part of that too. I'm part of this big movement of light, of stars, of energy. Close your eyes and feel that as you're breathing, you're starting to find your inner light, that you, like the stars above you, can shine, that if there's anything that you've been holding on to that has been sort of making you feel less than or weighed down, it's not going to be able to hold providence or kind of like power over you. You're not beholden to this anymore. Take a deep breath, inhale. Imagine that you're pulling in all the energy of the stars above you, all the starlight. It's almost like you're breathing in the stars for a moment. On the exhale, see yourself growing into this beautiful, resplendent light being. And in this moment, realize that your light, your power, your energy is something that you never have to show necessarily to anyone. You feel it. By feeling it, by knowing it, they're also going to feel it. This is going to help you not feel tempted to speak out of turn, to say something harsh, to make a decision without contemplation. You just know that you have the power to create. You are just like a star. You can create, you can destroy. Let's go into that energy of creation. I want you to imagine that you can almost see like stars coming in and out of your energy as you're breathing, almost as if you are the creator. And we are actually connected to God. We're part of God. Everything on this planet, everything in this universe or the multiple universes that exist really are God consciousness. So when you start to connect with divine energy, you realize there is nothing. The devil card in and of itself, it's just another manifestation of the divine. So let's go higher in our energy. And as you're breathing and pulling in the star light, the star dust, the stars, I want you to start to shine just like that. See yourself amid all of the galaxies above. You are part of that system, and you're creating your own future, your own power, your own light. And I'm going to play the singing bowl here for a few moments, and then we'll come out of the meditation, ground ourselves, and come back. As you look at your body and tune into your energy, notice now how everything has shifted. Anything that felt that it was maybe not as strong or not as bright, all of a sudden you see yourself kind of dancing with the starlight above you, as if you are part of that arm of the Milky Way. You could almost just walk right upon it and see where it takes you. And imagine that you can see what's in your future. Hold that into your mind's eye, hold that into your third eye. And if you want to, we've done this before, you can imagine that you can take this newfound energy of creation and paint some sort of a constellation that you can meditate on. Or you could even open a gate of energy in front of you and decide to walk through that. Do this in your daily or weekly meditations and get back into this space of empowerment, connection to the divine, and an understanding that there's no need to have to sort of like fight for something unnecessarily. Stand your ground, be strong, use your energy in ways that are productive, that matter, and know that you have great potential this month. Take one last deep breath and inhale. On the exhale, gently open your eyes. Welcome back. You can take your hands and rub them together. Put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that. Feel the warmth, feel the heat, feel the energy that you've created in your life, in this meditation, and continue to use that in the days and the weeks and the months ahead. Let's go ahead now and wrap everything up. Thank you again to anybody that has kindly given a contribution today through Super Chat. I will thank you when this is done using a little call out in the comment section. I appreciate your assistance. Thank you. I see I just got another one there. If you would like to connect with me and figure out like what's going on next, a great way to do that is through my website. So it's nicholasashbaugh.com, and all the different future videos that I'll be posting, as well as any other pieces of news, will be updated on that site. Also, if you want to book an appointment, it's there. I'd love for you to join me on social media. I have the same username on Facebook. It's at Nicholas Ashbaugh. And you can also join me on Patreon if you'd like. Patreon offers a very small sort of $1 a month contribution opportunity. And it's just a way to say thanks and kind of like set it and forget it if that's something that you want to do. Please follow me on Instagram if you'd like. I use stories there to remind you of upcoming videos. Same thing on Facebook. It's Nicholas_Ashbaugh. And Twitter, I will send a daily tweet, usually the day before, letting you know when I'm going to go live. And that's at @Ashbaugh. And finally, if you want to do PayPal, it's on my website, but the direct URL is paypal.me/Nicholas Ashbaugh. Again, all of this is on my website. You can go to the main page of YouTube and you click on the About link and it's all there. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that. And in the meantime, I just want to say thank you so much. I will be back tomorrow on Friday. And let's see, we did Scorpio today. I'll be reading for Sagittarius, and the rest of my schedule is on the website. So thank you so much. Thanks to Ryan and Maria for helping me, and for everybody for showing up. We had a nice big crowd today, and it's always nice to have so much energy present. So much love and light to all of you. I'll see you soon, and best of luck in the month ahead. There's some really exciting energy coming through for July. All right, take care of yourself, and thank you so much. Bye-bye.